And coming up on Good Morning Longhorns, the citywide vintage sale comes to Austin every month. We'll take a look inside.
Austin's QB Coffee takes a spot in the top 25 best coffee shops in the country. All this and more is coming up on Good Morning Longhorns.
And Good Morning Longhorns for this Wednesday, March 8th. I'm Logan Dubel.
And I'm Ella Denena. Thanks so much for joining us this Wednesday morning.
How are you doing this week, Ella?
Pretty good. Almost to spring break. The midterms are getting me, though.
The never-ending midterm season. I'm running on 3 hours. A little less than 3 hours, but we got this. Let's get straight into it with this morning's headlines.
The 2023 campus-wide election results were released on Monday. The Election Supervisory Board announced Helena Gidichu as student body president and William Ramirez as vice president. They edged out 3 other executive alliances, including one endorsed by the Daily Texan. Promoting a platform of tomorrow's Texas, a movement that is student-led and community-built, the campaign centered around topics such as health equity, sustainability, food insecurity, combating academic censorship, and so much more. Throughout the weeks leading up to the election, the two hosted several roundtables for first-generation and low-income students. While the pair does not officially transition into their new roles until later this year, there is a lot of anticipation for when they officially take over. Outgoing President Leland Murphy will be joining us later in the show to discuss his legacy and what's ahead.
And we'll look forward to that. After less than 3 hours of deliberations, a South Carolina jury reached a verdict and found Alex Murdaugh guilty last Thursday for the killings of his wife Margaret and son Paul. On Friday, Murdaugh was given 2 consecutive life sentences for the murders. The 6-week-long trial reached a head when prosecutors presented evidence of a Snapchat video confirming that Murdaugh was in fact at the crime scene before the killings occurred. Despite the high confidence of the South Carolina jury, Murdaugh's defense attorneys plan to appeal the conviction. However, in an entirely separate case, Murdaugh has been accused of 99 other financial crimes. Murdaugh is currently at the Kirkland Reception and Evaluation Center in South Carolina, where he will be held for the next 45 days until it's determined which maximum security prison he will be at to live out his remaining days. And on a more positive note, this past Sunday, the Hindu Students Association hosted a festival on the LBJ lawn to celebrate Holi.
Holi marks the start of spring and the end of winter. The festival commemorates love and good prevailing over evil. When celebrating Holi, people often throw colored powder at each other and water.
And that's right, the Hindu Students Association provided everything that students needed to enjoy the festival, including powder of various colors, music, and even ice cream.
And as you can tell, everyone had a really nice time at the event.
Yeah, thanks so much to Tori from our team for putting that together. It looks like a great time.
Yes, and this week we also saw Jewish communities around campus, Austin, and the world celebrate the joyous holiday of Purim, which is a holiday that commemorates Jewish survival, with traditions including fasting the day before the celebration, dressing up in costume, and enjoying delicious hamantashen, a 3-corner pastry when the fast is over. Austin's Jewish community had a wonderful time coming together to celebrate.
Yeah, and we have had so many wonderful celebrations that have brought students together this week, and of course we look forward on reporting more of those throughout the semester. Great to always see that. And moving on now to a tough yet important topic, which is mental health and a new law that's making headlines around the country, and it's aiming to prevent suicide. There was an excellent piece on CBS Sunday Morning this weekend where viewers were introduced to a law called Donna's Law. So far, it's been passed in Washington State, Utah, and Virginia. There have also been hearings in other states, and the bill would allow people experiencing suicidal thoughts or great bouts of depression to put themselves into an already existing background check system's do not sell list. If they later decided that they wanted to go ahead and purchase a weapon, their transaction would be denied, and that might save their life. More than half of suicides involve a firearm. The bill has not yet been taken up federally, but as we mentioned, hearings are taking place in more states, including in Maryland. Ella, do you think that legislation could be helpful in potentially saving lives?
I think it could be extremely helpful in potentially saving lives. I'm curious to hear more about the do not sell list. Like if people receive mental health help or certain prescribed medications, how that list works. But I think it can definitely do some positive things for the future regarding reducing suicide.
For sure, and I think the question from a lot of people is, are people who are potentially at risk really going to go ahead and put themselves on that do not sell list? The advocates of this law say yes, and we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah. Well, on a more lighter note, let's move on to some entertainment news. The Oscars are coming up. The famous awards took a shocking turn last year when Will Smith slapped Chris Rock after insulting Smith's wife, Jada Pinkett Smith. Rock did not publicly address his actions until this past Saturday, when 58-year-old comedian performed his Selective Outrage stand-up special to air on Netflix. The stand-up comedy show has been, quote, a long time coming and is such a big deal because it was Rock's first meaningful address of his actions that took place almost a year ago. And following the incident, Rock was banned from the Oscars gala and all other Academy events for the next 10 years. In a statement, the Academy said the 94th Oscars had been, quote, overshadowed by the unacceptable and harmful behavior they saw Mr. Smith exhibit on stage. There is hope for a normal Oscars this year when the 95th Annual Academy Awards air live on Sunday, March 12th at 7 p.m. Central Time, so be sure to tune in. Logan, did you see the Oscars occur last year and see everything that happened?
I wasn't watching live, but I remember immediately sort of going online and seeing everyone trying to understand what exactly happened. I think it took people a hot second to realize, was it intentional? Was that planned? What happened? And obviously, as we sort of saw later, that was definitely very most planned. So we'll have to wait and see what happens this year. Hopefully, it won't be as eventful. Right. But I will say, for award shows that definitely don't get as much viewership on TV lately, that definitely boosted the Oscars last year and probably will so again this year.
For sure.
If you've stepped outside lately, it certainly feels like spring has arrived. It's a little too humid, but Austin is coming off its 9th warmest winter ever, and that included the warmest single average day temperature ever recorded at 91 degrees. Pretty recently on February 22nd. It's pretty unbelievable. So with these warm temperatures, the Lady Bird Johnson Wildflower Center says that the Texas bluebonnets will be blooming in full force this spring season, even aided by the drought, which of course they say cleared the grasses for flowers to grow. That's according to KVUE. The Wildflower Center will be open late on Tuesdays later in March, allowing students and families to go enjoy Austin's natural beauty after they get out of class. Ella, do you think that students will go and take advantage of this, and what do you make of these warm temperatures in the bluebonnets?
I think they definitely should take advantage of it. I drove back from Austin from Houston this past weekend, and the bluebonnets are everywhere, and they're so pretty. It's awesome that we have that here, but it's getting pretty warm a little too quick.
It's a little too quick. The northern enemy is not prepared for this.
It's definitely shorts weather. Well, speaking of weather, let's take a look at it. Joining us on set is Desiree Marquez. What's the weather looking like, Desiree?
Thank you, Ella. I hope you're all enjoying the warm and perfect weather we've been having this weekend. It's so nice to be outside. We start off today's Wednesday the 8th with a low of 66 and a high of 82, with a small probability of rain and strong wind that rounds in 14 miles per hour. Following this same high temperatures Thursday with a low of 60 and a high of 84 with cloudy skies. We will see temperatures get below the 70s on Friday with a low of 58 and a high of 69. Then, as expected in the Texas weather, higher temperatures come back for 1 or 2 days, seeing as of Saturday a low of 65 and a high of 82, and Sunday low of 52 and a high of 81. Starting over next week, Monday, it's expected to go below the 70s again with a low of 46 and a high of 68. Introducing for the rest of next week a cooler trend that rounds in the low 50s and low 70s, with our high temperatures. So always be ready with an extra layer of clothing. That's latest from the Weather Center. I'm Desiree Marquez.
And thank you, Desiree. Stay tuned for more Good Morning Longhorns. We'll be back right after the break. Longhorns. Since 1977, the citywide vintage sale has attracted shoppers old and young across Austin. Hear from the owner, vendors, and even young shoppers who attended the February sale about what the local staple means to them in their own words.
It started in 1977 because just like we did recently, we had a gas shortage. People were in line to get gas, but they were still having garage sales all over town. The old City Coliseum was sitting empty, and I thought, why don't we just put all the garage sales in one location? Then you just have to drive to one place.
Over the years, it basically morphed into an antique and collectible show. I don't know if there are many shows like this that have been this long running.
I used to come with my parents when I was younger, and my friend here went yesterday. So this is yeah, it's her second day, and she told me about it, and I was like, we have to go.
It's become an incubator for small business. So people can come and set up a booth and sell a few things and try to figure out if this is going to work for them.
What got me here was the product that I have behind me after 7 years recently in Afghanistan. 2 years before that, I ended up with 500 carpets in my home here in Austin, Texas. So looking for an outlet for my carpets, exposure. Just took a shot at the citywide vintage sale, and it's working out real well.
I'd love for it to get back to the way it was, because it used to be full, and it's a little bit less. After the COVID, it went downhill, but it's building back up.
I love this, the good, the bad, and the ugly. You know, I love the people. These vendors are the hardest working people in America, but they bring this amazing stuff to us, and then we get to see somebody buy it and enjoy it.
A couple of weeks ago, we reported that local coffee shop QV Coffee made the list as one of the top 25 best coffee shops in the country. Our very own Paulina Pearson and Itza Martinez take us along with them on their journey as they try it out.
Hi, Good Morning Longhorns. I am the digital media director, Paulina Pearson.
Hey y'all, I'm Itza Martinez, the associate producer of Good Morning Longhorns.
Today we are at Cuvée or Cuvée Coffee, depending on how you pronounce it, because a couple weeks ago we reported that it made one of the U.S.'s top 25 coffee shops, so we decided to try it out ourselves.
We're gonna go in and order some coffee and maybe a couple pastries, and we'll let you guys know what we think and how we review it.
Okay, so we both ordered from like their March St. Patrick's themed menu. So I got the Lucky Latte. It's like vanilla and caramel in a latte.
And I got the cereal milk latte, so basically it has vanilla and cinnamon. I'm really excited to try this.
Yes, let's try it.
Cheers.
Oh, very delicious.
Ooh, that tastes like
10 out of 10.
cinnamon toast crunch.
I also got a butter croissant.
I got this like gluten-free strawberry donut.
Ooh,
So pretty. That's a really good donut. Like,
this place is Good Morning Longhorn approved.
yeah, this is a really good donut. The coffee's really good. And the vibes here are just like really
Yeah.
nice. It's a chill Sunday. And yeah, I definitely need to come try it whenever we can.
Okay, so we got back in the car. Overall, we really liked this place. We loved the inside. The environment was just very welcoming, and there was even people studying inside, and there's tables outside, and the weather was beautiful, so it was really nice. But overall, there's so many other great coffee places in Austin too to check out, and this is just one of them, so I'm glad we were able to come here. It's on the other side of 35 on East 6th Street.
So yeah, if you ever want to just get out of your apartment and come study for a few hours and grab yourself a little bit of coffee, I would recommend it. I really enjoyed it, and yeah, we hope you guys check it out soon.
We'll be back with more Good Morning Longhorns after the break. Welcome back to Good Morning Longhorns. From Monday, February 27th to Tuesday, February 28th, voting in the annual campus-wide student elections took place. The student body voted for representatives to serve in the assembly and on the executive board. The results of the elections came out this past Monday. Joining us on set today is the outgoing student government president, Leland Murphy. Thanks so much for joining us today. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Thanks so much for having me, Ella.
Yeah, of course. Well, let's get into the questions. So, what made you want to get involved in student government?
Yeah, so I had been involved in student government and Senate for my first 3 years of being at UT, as well as doing a lot of outside advocacy, and I think student government, that platform, that higher platform of being able to advocate for students, I just wanted to bring my advocacy that I'd already been doing to a higher level.
Right, and you're a student government major as is, right? So you've been interested in government.
Yes, I'm a government major.
For a while.
Yep.
Well, what does a typical workload look like as president? What do you do on most days and things like that?
Yeah, it's a great question. Lots of meetings with administration, various stakeholders, also just having to be available for students and student groups and people who you want to contact me about various initiatives, and of course meeting with my executive board, my vice president Isabel, and the rest of the team, as well as assembly meetings. So lots of meetings, but also just putting together advocacy proposals and presenting those.
What's an example of an advocacy proposal that you put forth, like your favorite one?
My favorite one, I think one of the biggest ones from our platform, and one that we were really excited to implement this year, was our monthly community food distributions. So every month we've been out on Speedway giving out free food, drinks, and other supplies to the student body. We've also been pairing with a lot of other different student organizations to help with those and make them bigger and better. And we've gotten a lot of really good positive feedback to that, and we're really excited to hopefully see that continue expanding in future years.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great idea. Yeah.
Thank you.
So why do you think it's important for UT to have a student government group? Do you think it provides them with real-world political experience?
Yeah, I think it's super important that we do have student government, because it does give students a voice to administration and make sure that the student perspective is always being heard and that students are always being advocated for to administration. And then I think that definitely student government can provide a lot of real-world political experience. Just from my experience in the role, again, you have to meet with so many different stakeholders like students, administration, having to balance like compromises sometimes, and just working with a lot of different people, I think provides really good experience for what actual politics is like.
Yeah, it sounds like it's a great opportunity that could really benefit you for your future. What were some accomplishments that UT student government achieved while you were in office? And is there anything that you did not achieve that you wish you did?
Yeah, so I think one of the big ones as mentioned was the community food distributions. That was one of our biggest ones. We're also really excited that actually we've established a food insecurity agency for the future years to come. So hopefully they'll be the ones to continue on those food distributions. We also did a lot of work with getting professional headshots free provided at the co-op. So that's going to be a program that continues for future years. And then we also have some current projects that we're still working on related to like emergency contraceptives, as well as some student employee stuff. So hopefully more will be coming before the end of our term this year. And then for things that I think I wish we could have accomplished, we had worked on kind of a policy related to getting Gender and Sexuality Center and a Multicultural Engagement Center representative for the Student Government Assembly to be a voting representative, but recently that did not pass the Assembly, so we were kind of disappointed that our proposal did not pass the Assembly. But other than that, I think very happy with what we did and excited to see a lot of initiatives carry forward.
Yeah, and hopefully y'all can propose that later on and it will pass eventually. What do you want the next student body president to know?
I think, coming into this role, you have a lot of pressure on you. It is a huge role at a huge institution, you being UT Austin. I think just being able to trust yourself and your leadership ability, obviously take in all the perspectives, try and get that advice, and make sure you're trying to help and listen to as many people as possible, but ultimately some decisions will come down to you. And I think just being able to be comfortable in your leadership decision making, because you are in the position for a reason.
Right, well, congratulations. Thank you for all that you've done. It's really impressive. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Yeah, thank you so much again for having me.
Yeah. We'll be back with more right after the break.
And UT sports have been on a roll this week. The Texas women's basketball team secured the regular season Big 12 title with its 80-52 win against Kansas State on Saturday. The men's basketball team beat Kansas 75-59 at their senior night on Saturday, securing a second-place spot in the Big 12 regular season. Both teams will play in the Big 12 tournament starting tomorrow, and we wish them the best of luck. And other sports news, Texas softball swept the Longhorn Invitational Tournament this weekend at home with an undefeated 5-0 record, and Texas track and field claimed victories in women's shot put, women's pole vault, men's, as well as the women's triple jump and men's high jump. We are so proud of all of our Texas teams, and as always, hook 'em.
As many of you know, today is International Women's Day. It is a day where we celebrate the strides women have made towards accomplishing gender equality and women's contributions to all aspects of society. Today we are going to highlight women who made strides in journalism, a male-dominant field. The first woman we'd like to highlight is Ida B. Wells. She was a prominent civil rights activist who shed light on the horrific things that were being done to Black Americans in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Next, we have Dorothy Thompson. One of her most prominent works was her report on Hitler and the rise of Nazism. This reporting led to her being expelled from Germany in 1934. She was recognized as the second most influential woman in America in 1939.
And last and certainly not least is the late Barbara Walters. Many of you may have heard about her passing this past December, but her legacy at the American Broadcasting Company, ABC News, lives on through programs including ABC Evening News, The View, and 2020. She's my favorite. And be sure to stay tuned for more Women's History Month facts throughout the month. I know I'll be taking her book, Audition, with me on spring break. Very excited to hopefully read that, but Barbara Walters is definitely one of the greatest, and we're glad we could pay tribute to her today. Well, if you're looking to see live music right in your backyard, Campus Events and Entertainment has an exciting event tonight. In a battle for the bands beginning at 6:30 in the WCP Auditorium, Chess, the band, Flight by Nothing, the Young Kids, and West 22nd Band, all led by students, are going to compete for a spot as the opener for the headlining 40 Acres Fest act later this month. Fans must stay until the end to vote, so be sure to check that out tonight. I think that's going to be awesome, and West 22nd Band going to be going to several places playing tonight.
They are. I'm going to see them tonight, actually. In just a few days, UT students will head out for Austin spring break, unless they're planning to attend the massive South by Southwest Festival, of course. But as always, students will travel far and wide. Popular spring break destinations include Miami Beach, Cabo, and South Padre Island. Florida has always served as a home for spring breakers, and Fort Lauderdale was the most popular destination for many decades.
And while spring break has a reputation for rowdy partying and grabs headlines, of course, it also offers hardworking students the chance to take a break before the year wraps up. Ella, where are you planning to head for spring break next week?
I'm leaving to go skiing in Colorado on Saturday, so I'm
Wonderful.
so excited.
That's exciting. Definitely anything to get you out of West Campus. That's necessary.
And the cooler weather, because it's been a little too hot here. But what are you doing?
I'll be heading to South Padre with all the rowdy people, so we'll see how that goes. I'm not from Texas, so it'll be something new. It'll be something
It'll be
new.
great.
Even if it's a one and done, at least I'm getting out of West Campus for a few days. For more Good Morning Longhorns throughout the week, you can follow us on Instagram at Good Morning Longhorns. Thanks so much for joining us this morning. I'm Logan Dubel.
And I'm Ella Denena. From all of us here at Good Morning Longhorns, have a wonderful Wednesday, and we'll see you all after spring break.